I am Skylar Newberry Mays, Vice Chair of the Des Moines School Board. This morning, we are excited to share a look back at some of the accomplishments and highlights at Des Moines Public Schools during the past year. As well, we'll take a look ahead at some of our priorities for 2026. That includes an update on Reimagining Education, our exciting 5-year initiative to make DMPS a destination district for families who are seeking exceptional learning opportunities and experiences for their children. Thank you for being here today, and especially thank you for your support of public education and the students of Des Moines. And now, please welcome Wesley Rumbaugh, Cadet Captain of the U.S. Marine Corps JROTC at Central Campus.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for taking the time to join us here at Central Campus, and welcome to the State of the Schools. My name is Wesley Rumbaugh. I'm an 18-year-old student at Roosevelt High School, soon to graduate and begin a career in the United States Marine Corps. I'd like to get a little personal with you all this morning. Thank you. I'd like to get a little personal with you all this morning as I explain the effect that Central Campus has on its students. All through my life, my mother has told me that you are who you hang out with. And now typically I would interpret that as her trying to take a shot at my friends. But recently, I've come to a more logical conclusion. You see, regardless of how much my parents despised the boys that I'd call friends, it was besides their point, which was I was willingly or unwillingly going to become a product of my environment. I used to think that this term was only used in a negative instance to describe people who are the way they are because of the environment that they were brought up in. However, I realize now that everybody, not just students and young adults, but everyone is a product of their environment. And it's important to clarify that somebody's environment is not just the area around their homes. It's the media that they digest, it's the people they surround themselves with, the schools that they attend, and the jobs that they work. You simply put, a person's environment is the world that they partake in. Now, the beautiful thing about that is that you have the power to decide where your environment is and how it will impact your future. Central Campus is the environment that changed my life forever. Many students and adults in our district don't know of Central Campus's MCJROTC program or know of it, but they don't know what we do. And for a long time, I wasn't certain of the objectives of our program either. However, before you today, as the Cadet Commanding Officer, I can tell you, we build leaders. I say this as a man who was taken in as a freshman with a dead-end lifestyle and guided through a space that consistently challenged my abilities and forged me into a leader. The JROTC, along with my dedicated mentors and all of the past student leaders whom I've learned from, showed me that anybody has the power to take a step out of their environment and into a better future. So when you hear the motto, "Come here, become here," take it literally and absorb it with pride, because coming to Central Campus is not the same as simply going to school. Coming to Central Campus means becoming, and you fill in the blank. I'd like to acknowledge that my position is only possible thanks to the support from the many people that I've met over the years. Most notably, Dr. Mushka, who has showed me love and support since the day we met when I was a young freshman. Mr. Chi, the facilities manager, who has teased and tormented me ever since he'd found out I was on the rifle team. My peers in JROTC, and all of the wonderful teachers whose pleasure was mine to be a part of your class. Most notably, Mrs. Martirano, the chair of the school board. Ms. Martirano is an information systems specialist with the Johnson Community School District and holds a bachelor's degree in industrial technology education from Illinois State University. She was previously a data analyst with the Des Moines Public Schools and an education training specialist with Computer Information Concept. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Martirano.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 State of the Schools. I am Kim Martirano, and I am proud to serve as the chair of the Des Moines School Board. Thank you so much for joining us this morning at this special event. And thank you to Dr. Kelsey Mushka and the faculty and staff of Central Campus for hosting us this morning. Thank you to our chefs, Sarah Winchell, Matt Paget, and Sierra Bryson Welch, and their culinary arts students for the wonderful refreshments. All homemade, from what I understand, and delicious. Thank you. And thank you to JROTC Captain Wesley Rumbaugh for his gracious welcome and introduction. I also want to thank my fellow school board members. In November, we said goodbye to Jackie Norris and Jenna Knox, and we welcome Sarah Hopkins and Ryan Howell. It is an honor to serve alongside such dedicated group of public servants, and I appreciate their leadership and commitment to our students. Thank you. Thank you for being here. The State of the Schools has been a long tradition here at DMPS, one which we revived back in 2023. It's an opportunity to bring together our school leaders, our community leaders, and community members to share highlights from the past year and to look at our goals and priorities for the year ahead. As we reflect on 2025, we cannot ignore the events and challenges of late September. It was a moment which brought understandable concern and emotion across our community. But as we said at that time, and always bears repeating, a school district is bigger than just one person. Des Moines Public Schools is nearly 5,000 educators, bus drivers, counselors, nurses, food service workers, custodians, staff who show up every single day for our students. From interim superintendent Matt Smith to everyone who works for and supports our schools, our focus has remained exactly where it belongs, on the students that we serve. We are grateful for this dedication and commitment. For that, I thank you. So if last September tested us, then November reminded us of who we are. On November 4th, nearly 74% of voters approved a $265 million bond to support Reimagining Education, the largest school bond in Iowa history. And it passed with the highest margin in the state on Election Day. Support was wide and deep, crossing neighborhoods and precincts throughout Des Moines. The vote was not just about buildings and infrastructure. It was a statement of belief in our students, in our educators, and in the future of public education in this city. And that support shows up every single day, not just at the ballot box. Today, we have 127 community partners that work alongside of our schools. From food security, healthcare, the arts, athletics, career and technical education, and career readiness, these partnerships help meet the needs of the whole child. We are grateful for our partners like By Degrees, whom you will hear from shortly, who help students and families prepare to continue their education after DMPS. We are also thankful to Caitlin Clark and her foundation, which last August provided backpacks and supplies to 500 Des Moines students. And in partnership with Musco Lighting, finished bringing mini pitches to all 10 of our middle schools. We've continued to expand our partnerships with higher education as well. Through the University of Virginia and support from the Iowa Department of Education, we've launched the Transformative 12 Schools, a multi-year effort to strengthen leadership and accelerate academic growth. And Drake University has introduced a new Master's of Science in Montessori Education to support expanded access to Montessori programming here in Des Moines. Our community also invests generously through philanthropy. The DMPS Foundation saw a record participation in both its annual dinner and the One Run. Prairie Meadows provided nearly $1 million in grants supporting youth opportunities and early childhood education. Over the past 2 years, nearly $2.8 million in philanthropic support has strengthened our classrooms and programs. Of course, alongside the work of our booster clubs, our alumni groups, and our school foundations across the district. With that support comes accountability, and that's where the board comes into play. The school board sets clear goals for the superintendent. including increasing English language arts proficiency in 4th and 8th grade and expanding the number of students earning a Diploma Plus within 4 years. As we monitor that progress publicly, our responsibility is not just to set targets, it is to meet and exceed them. And that focus is producing results. On the most recent ISASP, or Iowa Statewide Assessment of Student Progress, DMPS students demonstrated growth that in several areas outpaced the state. 4th grade English language arts proficiency increased by 3.6%, ahead of the statewide increase of 2%. 7th grade math proficiency increased by more than 7%, with 4 middle schools posting double-digit gains. Among 10th graders, math proficiency increased more than 5%, and science proficiency increased more than 10%, again, exceeding the statewide growth. We are also seeing improvement reflected in the Iowa school performance profiles. All 5 comprehensive high schools increased their scores by more than 10%. 25 of our schools scored above the state average. 6 schools previously identified for targeted support are no longer on that list due to student growth. We saw gains across every grade level. There is still work to do, of course, but we are seeing meaningful and measurable progress. And beyond the data are the stories of excellence happening every single day in our classrooms. All 5 of our comprehensive high schools are again recognized in the University of Iowa's AP Index for expanding access to college-level coursework. Next door, Central Academy remains the top-ranked public school in Iowa for advanced placement. At the same time, we continue strengthening career and technical education, a priority of Reimagining Education. For example, here at Central Campus, the welding program received a $50,000 STEM grant to expand equipment and partnerships. And senior Max Wardle won a national welding competition, earning a full ride scholarship. And in this room, we have a true leader in that important work. Let's again show our appreciation to Dr. Kelsey Mushka, honored as the 2025 Administrator of the Year by the Iowa Association for Career and Technical Education. Dr. Gregory Berard was named both an outstanding biology teacher by the National Association of Biology Teachers, one of only 27 teachers across the nation so honored, and is the 2026 Heartland Regional Teacher of the Year. This marks the 3rd consecutive year a DMPS educator has earned regional or statewide Teacher of the Year honors, a testament to the talent in our classrooms. Across the district, teachers and staff continue to be recognized for excellence, from Goodrill's Sharon Buckroyd being the Iowa World Language Association's Educator of the Year, to Merrill's Marty Luft being the Iowa High School Athletic Directors Association Middle School Directors of the Year. Over the past year, 4 schools, East Hoover High School, Goodrill Middle School, and Wright Elementary School, earned the recognized Model Program designation from the American School Counselors Association for the commitment to excellence. Of the 6 schools in Iowa that meet this standard, 5 of them are Des Moines Public Schools. And most importantly, our students continue to shine. National Merit semifinalists, all-state musicians, national speech and debate qualifiers, including a national champion. We have 175 students earning the Iowa Seal of Biliteracy in languages ranging from Spanish, Vietnamese, Arabic, and Portuguese. For the 4th year in a row, Central Academy pottery students created the official pottery and ceramic for the Iowa State Fair. And just last week, Lincoln High School girls bowling team brought home a state championship trophy. Go Rails! These accomplishments reflect not just individual achievement, but opportunity. As we move forward with Reimagining Education, we honor what has made us strong: a diverse and vibrant community, talented educators, and a commitment to opportunity for every single student. But as we look ahead, how do we continue to raise achievement? How do we remain competitive in a changing educational landscape? How do we provide facilities and programs that reflect excellence happening in our classrooms? And how do we ensure that Des Moines Public Schools remains the district of choice for families across central Iowa? These are the questions guiding our work. This is Reimagining Education. And to share more about Reimagining Education and the priorities ahead, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our interim superintendent, Matt Smith.
I don't know about you, but I can use another cup of coffee. I've only had 16 so far this morning. Before I get rolling, is this setup not amazing? Right? Can we give it up for Amanda, Amy, Adam, Kyle, John, and Phil Rader, please, real quick? I particularly want to recognize Phil Rader. The State of the Schools event is something that is the brainchild of Phil. We have now done this 4 consecutive years in a row. Des Moines Public Schools did engage in this practice many, many years ago. And again, it was when Phil was on staff, before he left for a few years and came back to the promised land of Des Moines Public Schools. But I would be remiss if I did not share my sincere appreciation for Phil Rader, for his leadership, and for his vision to pull this together each and every year to make sure that Des Moines Public Schools is recognizing the achievements and the accolades that our students and our staff and our community deserve. So one more time for Phil Rader. So Board Chair Martirano, thank you, and thank you to every educator, partner, elected official, and community leader in this room. When I look out and see this many people who care deeply about public education in Des Moines, I see possibility. I see hope. I see belief. I also see momentum. And I see a community that will put kids before everything else. They will put kids before politics. They will put kids before the troubles of our state and our country. They will continuously center children because that's who we show up for each and every day. As we look to the year ahead, and quite frankly to the next 5 years, our path forward rests on 3 pillars: our strategic plan, our budgeting process, and reimagining education. 3 pillars, 1 mission: ensuring every student in Des Moines Public Schools is thriving each and every day. A little over a year ago, we unveiled Cultivating Success, a strategic plan for Des Moines Public Schools. It laid out an ambitious vision, grounded in something very simple: an unwavering commitment to every student, every educator, and every family we serve in Des Moines. This wasn't a plan written in isolation. It was shaped by teachers, staff, families, and community members. Their voices helped define not just what we want to accomplish, but who we want to become as a district. The plan rests on 5 pillars: ensuring every student receives an exceptional education that prepares them for success. It's high-quality teaching and learning. Promoting the physical, emotional, and social well-being of students and staff alike. Attracting, developing, and retaining talented educators and staff that are committed to serving others more so than themselves. Delivering exceptional operational services across the district, from all district offices to our schools. And building strong partnerships with families and community and business stakeholders. We are in year 1 of implementation. This year focused largely on alignment and planning, making sure our work matches our words. As we move into year 2, we're shifting from planning to investment. In the FY27 budget, we're preparing to dedicate $2 million towards strategic actions, most closely aligned with student outcomes, board goals, and district priorities. Because a strategic plan only matters if it changes the student experience in the classrooms. Otherwise, it's just words on paper. And that's exactly what we intend to do, is to create action through our investments. So let's talk a little bit about budget. Because vision requires resources. You've probably heard it said, what gets talked about gets done. I'm going to adapt to that a little bit. What gets talked about is great. That's a good start. What gets funded gets done. And we've got to put resources to our actions. We are still waiting on final legislative approval for state funding growth, but all indicators would suggest it's going to be about 1.75%. This is roughly what we've been planning for since October. That 1.75% is also below inflation, which continues a pattern of the past several years, and it effectively represents about $16 million reduction in the Des Moines Public Schools spending authority. We cannot control state funding, but what we can control is how we plan and how we prepare for the funding that we will receive. That's why our CFO, Shashank Arora, the executive team, and many, many other directors and school leaders and I are working to implement a multi-year budgeting process. Instead of reacting year to year, we will anticipate. Instead of volatility, we will build financial stability for the next 5 years. The goal is simple: greater predictability, greater continuity, and clearer alignment between resources and student outcomes. This approach is not simply about addressing next year's budget, but about taking deliberate and strategic actions that improve our financial position over time. Our financial goal must be to move beyond short-term solvency and towards sustained, multi-year stability so we can continue to invest responsibly in students, staff, and the long-term health of our district. If we stay disciplined, we can weather funding constraints without losing focus on what matters most: the people that we serve. Now let's talk about something that truly energizes me and jazzes me up every single day: reimagining education. If the strategic plan defines our direction, reimagining education provides the infrastructure for us to get there. On November 4th, our community made history. Voters approved $265 million bond referendum with nearly 74% support, the night's largest margin of victory for the largest school bond in Iowa history. As Chair Martin, we got to clap for that one more time. And as Chair Martirano said previously, the vote wasn't just about buildings. It was about belief. Belief in public education. Belief in our students. Belief in the future of Des Moines Public Schools. We are deeply, deeply grateful to the community leaders who championed this effort, including Mayor Connie Bozen, and to the team of more than 80 members of our facility planning committee who began that work nearly 3 years ago. Since unveiling the plan, we held dozens of community meetings. We featured the initiative in countless newsletters and podcasts. We shared school-specific details with families at every school. Social media posts reached over 1 million views in the week leading up to the election. And yes, we even marched at the Iowa State Fair parade. But now comes the best part, the part that we've been waiting for, the actual work of implementing the plan. So let's talk a little bit about what we've done since Election Day, what we'll do through 2026. First, we hired Dr. Becca Harris project manager for Reimagining Education. She is our quarterback, keeping us focused, coordinated, and moving forward. Second, we are transitioning to a regional structure, the Northeast, the Northwest, and the South, aligned around the rivers that define our city. Each region will have clear feeder patterns into comprehensive schools. Why? Because stronger neighborhood connections and clearer pathways lead to stronger outcomes for students. This is a student-driven plan. And on Tuesday night, the school board authorized the sale of $100 million in bonds, which will take place a little later this year. This is the first major step in financing this ambitious vision approved by the voters. One of the most exciting components of the Reimagining Education plan is preparing for the development of signature schools. These are immersive, theme-based options open to families across the district. Over the next 5 years, we will expand opportunities aligned with STEM and STEAM, dual language immersion, career and technical education, performing and visual arts, and Montessori, which has already expanded beyond Coles to Findlay, Jackson, and Pleasant Hill. These schools are designed to spark curiosity, creativity, and engagement, helping students discover both who they are and who they want to be. These spaces are about creating hope and joy. Reimagining Education is also about aligning our facilities with how students learn today, but also how they will learn tomorrow. That means expanding classroom space where enrollment is growing, creating flexible learning environments, maker spaces, collaborative spaces, exploratory and experiential labs, modernizing buildings to support hands-on learning, and responsibly retiring facilities that no longer meet the educational or operational needs of our district. When we creatively and strategically align physical space with programming, enrollment patterns, and long-term sustainability, we strengthen our entire system. In 2026, this year, we are going to design and construct at 7 schools specifically, including career and technical education makerspaces at Brody, Goodrell, and McCombs, classroom additions at Lovejoy, Studebaker, and Weeks, and the design and groundbreaking of a new arts-focused school at the Moulton site. At Brody Middle School, for example, students will soon have access to digital, data, and health science labs, along with collaborative spaces designed for creativity and innovation. These are just not spaces of physical plant. They are launch pads. These are spaces where students begin exploring careers, passions, and possibilities. Again, these are spaces that cultivate hope and joy. The combination of the spaces with the adults in the presence of our children, that is where magic happens for children. That is where they find agency in themselves. That is where they actually begin to take what they're learning and apply it in new and adaptive ways because they know who they are, they know who they want to be, and they have adults around them that are cultivating that environment to move them in that direction. We also have 2 major transitions. Walnut Street School will close at the end of this year. The amazing principal Tom Bartello and his team are working closely with families and staff to ensure strong placements and smooth transitions for next year and beyond. The building will temporarily house district offices as we prepare to sell 2100 Fleur and consider long-term solutions. And Moulton Elementary students and staff will relocate to the Kurtz building for 2 years while their new arts academy is constructed. When they return, they will enter one of the most dynamic schools in the entire state of Iowa. As signature schools come online, we are developing enrollment systems to ensure clear, equitable access for families. Because new opportunities only matter if families can access them fairly and transparently. Strong systems is what makes strong programs sustainable. Being a part of the Reimagining Education has been one of the greatest joys of my 16 years here in Des Moines Public Schools. And what inspires me most about the Reimagining Education plan is not the buildings, it's not the physical space. It's the belief. It's the belief in this community, It's the belief in the educators and the staff. It's belief in our families. And most importantly, it's belief in our kids. We have momentum. We have a plan. And most importantly, we have each other. Momentum, a plan, and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all that we need to make this work for our kids. So let's keep building. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the stage some very special guests for a discussion and taping of our podcast. Please welcome our host, Amanda Lewis, Mayor Connie Boesen, Emily Westergaard, CEO of one of our great partners, the By Degree Foundation, Becca Harris, our Reimagining Education Project Manager, and Irene Alobo, a student at North High School as well as here at Central Campus. Let's continue this conversation.
You're sitting there taking that seat. Okay. That's what I was going to say. Where do you want us?
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. We'll begin recording the 2026 State of the Schools episode of the Become Here Project, a Des Moines Public Schools podcast. In just a moment, we just have a little microphone musical chairs to do, so we have to turn one off to turn one on. So as soon as we have that going, I'm going to ask for your help. So it's an audio broadcast, so I'm going to need your help because they can't see you. So in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to ask you to do something for me. You can find 26 episodes of the Become Here Project on our website, dmschools.org, and this episode will be posted there later on today. Are we ready, Jensen? Kyle? All right, microphone on? Perfect. All right, here we go. Welcome to the Become Here Project, a Des Moines Public Schools podcast. We are live today from the Central Campus Auditorium for the 2026 State of the Schools event in front of a live studio audience. Audience, will you make some noise? Excellent. I'm Amanda Lewis. My co-host today is North High School and Central Campus student Irene Alobo. Thank you for coming in this morning. Joining us also are Des Moines Mayor Connie Boesen, DMPS Interim Superintendent Matt Smith, Reimagining Education Project Manager Dr. Becca Harris, and By Degrees CEO Emily Westergaard. Thank you so much, all of you. Irene, will you start by telling us a little bit about yourself? I hear your cybersecurity team is amazing.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Irene Alobo. I'm a student at North Central Campus and Central Academy. I immigrated here when I was 4 years old with my family. We're Congolese. We come from the DRC. And when I first arrived in Iowa at the young age of 4, our family, we couldn't speak English. We were sort of isolated in a sense. So when I started when I attended my first school, Moulton, in first grade, I was surrounded by an environment that was welcoming, and that continued up until 11th grade. I've never had a grade where I felt alone. I've always had friends I could rely on, teachers I could ask questions to, and people I could always ask for help. About cybersecurity, though, Central Campus, I've taken this class since 9th grade. Central Campus offers a cybersecurity course taught by my teacher and mentor, Michael Tierney, and I believe that course encompasses what Central Campus is truly about. Via that course, I've been able to talk with industry leaders. I've been able to go across state bounds. I've been traveling. I've participated in numerous competitions. We've introduced the program Central Campus to students from the northeast side of Iowa to the most eastward side and whatnot. So at Central Campus, when you asked me to come up here and talk about what makes Central Campus great, sorry. I'm sorry.
You're doing great, Irene.
Wow. This is just very nerve-wracking.
Oh, sure.
But
Doing great.
to speak to what makes Central Campus great, it's an environment that allows students to get hands-on experience with numerous career fields. and I've been able to jump off of Central Campus. I've interned with the school since my freshman year. I worked there for 3 months over the summer. I then proceeded to work the following year, and at the moment, me and 7 others were working at the MPS, supporting all the home schools, all the home high schools, as well as numerous middle schools and elementary schools at Central Campus, via the DMPS Tech Apprenticeship Program. And that's about all that I can cover.
Very nice. I've heard you've done very well in some cybersecurity competitions. Number 5 in the nation, is that what I hear?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. The questions today are largely submitted by people who RSVP'd online for the State of the Schools event. So we will begin with Mayor Bozen. As the city plans for growth and workforce needs, where do you see the strongest connections between reimagining education and Des Moines' long-term economic health?
I think the programs that, when I heard about the Reimagine whole concept, yes, you have the career and technical and the signature schools, but I always go back to, I'm a huge advocate for preschool, giving kids an opportunity to start well because it builds all the way through. So there are 2 aspects for me. It's really all of the components is the preschool expansion. I think the middle school opportunity is critical, that we give younger people an opportunity to say, what do we want to do? And then, the signature schools and continuing all the work, because the workforce has changed and the needs, and I think specializing and building that strength for all the businesses that need workforce is critical for our community to grow. I've always felt that strong schools make strong communities, and so this whole program has reinvigorated, I think, people's desire to make sure that Des Moines Public Schools are successful because, again, that makes Des Moines successful and builds the economic growth that we need.
Thank you.
Do you have a
Superintendent Smith, as a team leader in class and student at Central Campus, I've noticed hands-on learning experience really invites students, really helps students learn. How does student engagement, how does the CTE fit into the broader goals of Reimagining Education?
It's written all over the Reimagining Education plan. And so the career and technical education investments is, it's an expression, if you will, I guess, in recognizing the science behind learning, right? In that many students learn from the hands-on experiential exploratory opportunities that they receive in classrooms, right? Whether it's through data or health sciences or skilled trades or what have you, there's a lot of research behind getting kids access at earlier ages to exploratory career and technical education opportunities because it's applied learning, right? And so career and technical education is about adaptability. Education in general is about adaptability. It's not about meeting a short-term outcome on an assignment or an assessment. Those are important, but it's really about taking what you've learned and being able to adapt and apply that to a diverse set of contexts and situations. And the career and technical education investments, beginning in middle schools, that this Reimagined Education plan is designed to offer, gives more students more access to more exploratory opportunities to begin to explore who they are and who they want to become. And so just as it's deeply rooted in educational research and best practices, it's also rooted in human dignity and inclusiveness, and making sure that all students have access to these opportunities to explore these various careers and explore what the Iowa and national workforce have to offer and to begin to find themselves, because there's no greater motivator for a student, for an individual in their learning environment than knowing who you are and seeing the skills and the knowledge that you're gaining, applying to your vision for your own life.
Thanks.
For Dr. Harris, families are already thinking ahead to signature schools. There's a lot of excitement around it. What can you share about how they will be developed and who will be involved in that process?
So we are really excited right now, actually, to be in the process of developing working groups to answer some of those questions. So for each of our signature schools and our middle school CTE makerspaces, we have a working group that is working to develop a draft vision for what students will experience in those spaces. We really are excited also to open that conversation up to the community. So our plan for the spring is actually to create a draft vision and then bring it to school staff, to school communities, and then to the wider Des Moines community to make sure that we are aligned on what experiences our students want to have in these spaces. So for our first year, we're going to have working groups for the CTE makerspaces, Montessori programs, the Performing Arts School, and the Dual Language School. Communities can expect to hear from us, to hear more about the draft vision and to give feedback in May and June of this year. And then we will repeat that process with our secondary programs, the STEAM, STEM, and CTE in January into the spring of 2027.
Thank you.
Ms. Westergaard, as we begin to reimagine education, what is something you would like families to understand about community partners and by degrees specifically?
So I think one of the strongest things that we can help our families understand is that schools can't do anything alone. We need to identify ways that the community can step up and address all of those different opportunities and needs that our kids and our students and our families are coming into the schools with. When we are creating these strong partnerships between organizations like By Degrees Foundation and Des Moines Public Schools, we are making it possible to scale ideas that are going to, one, not be possible alone, and also create entirely new opportunities and pathways that will open up so many more doors for the students. Like yourself, I heard that you just this week opened up a 529 account, is that right?
Yep.
So, yes, I'm so excited. By Degrees is able to work very closely with Des Moines Public Schools to not only help students start to explore what those careers and pathways are after high school, but we pair that with true 529 savings accounts that students can earn money into when they meet different milestones. So this helps us build hope, and it helps us incentivize things that we know will help students be successful. And just like yourself, we now opened that up to all of our students at Findlay Elementary, Harding Middle School, and North High School. So students are able to open up and get an initial deposit and then earn more money into it that you'll be able to use when you graduate. Things that wouldn't be possible without that partnership.
Yeah. You guys are, thanks for the 529 account.
You're welcome.
Superintendent Smith, how will DMPS support employees in building the skills they need to meet student
529
needs?
accounts.
Yes,
We're gonna do 529.
for everyone.
Yes. I'm sorry, keep going. Keep going. Yes.
So how are we going to help employees build the skills they need as we reimagine education so they can meet the needs as they expand?
Yeah, lots of things. Specifically, our support for employees is through training and professional development. And that training and professional learning for adults has to keep pace with both the instructional and structural changes that we're making as a district that are articulated in that $265 million bond plan. So the investment in employees is primarily sort of maybe twofold that I could sort of couch it in. One is professional learning and training around the practices and endorsements needed to advance the plan in the next 5 years. And second is just as equally as important is to invest in listening and understanding from staff about what they're experiencing and what they desire for their own careers and their own lives. And so the plan, you know, a lot of times gets focused on the physical structures. The people in those structures is actually what makes it work. Our district is successful and serves children to the highest standard because of the adults in their lives in these buildings. And so What we cannot do as a district, and what we have to guard against, is allowing a plan to not center people. So the adults in our district, we need to have a plan individually for them about the training and endorsements needed and the professional learning that is going to build confidence and competence in them to have their own agency about their career trajectory, about staying in Des Moines Public Schools, and about continuing to utilize Des Moines as a platform by which they grow in their own sort of professional development and their own sense of self-worth and agency as a contributing member of our district and of our community.
Thank you.
Mayor Bozen, from the city's perspective, how does strong CTE programming benefit not only Des Moines' workforce, but also their local economy?
I think it goes hand in hand. We know that the careers are changing and the needs are changing, and having these strong programs help create the opportunity for students to explore and to go into the fields that maybe they didn't think about, and having the variety of opportunities is then provides the workforce that we need to make sure that we have strong economy. And so I think it all is intertwined together, and that's why we have felt very strongly that this Reimagine plan was so important for the city of Des Moines, because it does help the workforce and will help educate kids or young people into different maybe career pathways that they had not thought about. And I think some of the programs that we are talking about offers an opportunity. Like I said, we might have the next Bill Gates in our school district, and having just this variety of ways to explore and to look at different ways and really working with our business community on what are the needs, I think it's what strengthens our economy. And I think the work that's been done on this plan has definitely done that.
Thank you.
Ms. Westergaard, By Degrees has done a lot for the students of Des Moines Public Schools. What is your message to businesses and nonprofits about how strong school and community partnerships contribute to long-term student success?
I will go back again to a couple of things that we say a lot at By Degrees, which is that talent is distributed evenly, opportunity is not. And to Mayor Bozen's point just now, we need to make sure that we are increasing access to opportunity in every single zip code, in every single neighborhood throughout the schools. And schools cannot do that alone, and nonprofits cannot do that alone. We need strong businesses that are willing to step up and not just fund the programs, but we need the volunteers, and we need their experiences and their expertise to come in and help our students see what is out there and build that pipeline. We need to be working right now on the pipeline for higher education in 15 years and for our workforce community in 15 to 20 years. And it's a longer term vision. It's not something that you necessarily see an impact in the next 6 months. But when we are working together to invest in our kids, we're more successful, and we are sending such a strong message to our students that we care about you. We are excited to invest in your future. And that increasing hope is dramatically going to improve outcomes for thousands of kids.
Thank you.
Dr. Harris, from your perspective, what feels most important for people to understand about where Reimagine Education work is right now?
I think the most important thing to know right now is that the work is moving, and the work is moving quickly. So you got to see on the screen a couple of minutes ago when Matt was talking that we have 7 active construction projects. That number has actually grown since we put the slide deck together. We have started on year 2. Our amazing construction team is so on the ball. So we have 11 construction projects in design as of today. We have our 4 first working groups that are working to develop a vision to bring to our community. And then we're having a lot of internal conversations right now around the systems and processes that we need to make this a really smooth experience for our families and for our students as we move them into the realm of signature schools in alignment of our 3 regions. And so we're working to set a really strong foundation for the work for the next 5 years.
Thank you.
I think you have the next question as well.
Yep. So Mayor Bozen, how can city government and community partners here help amplify the impact of the work behind the impact of the work beyond school buildings?
I think it really goes back to understanding what is going on in the district and bringing the business community, as Emily has said, as partners and giving more mentoring opportunities. And I know that we're working on a joint meeting between the school board and the city council so that we can get more informed too on the Reimagine plan. And I think it's all of us working together. It is a long term, but nothing is usually quick in government, right, Matt? So it's really all of us working together and really keeping centered the young people that we have in our community, because we want people to stay in our community, keep our community strong, and I think whatever we can do to help keep that pipeline working together is what's the critical aspect.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Superintendent Smith, how will Reimagining Education prepare students with disabilities for meaningful employment, leadership, and independence right alongside their peers?
Yeah, so thanks for the question. That's a great question. The vision of the Reimagine plan and the new spaces are designed with inclusivity in mind and access. That's through access, not only transportation and physical access into the spaces, but through IEPs, through programming, right? Through working through training of teachers and staff around ensuring that the accessibility begins with awareness and knowledge of what the programs offer, and working with the student and the family about their desire for their careers and their lives after high school. So much about what we do in Des Moines Public Schools, even the facility that we're sitting in now is an example of this. People don't know about it, right? And so part of having access and making sure that we have inclusive environments is knowing that you have a seat at that table, that the district is demanding that you be at the table alongside your peers so that you get the same opportunities as the student next to you or as a student down the street or across the district. And that begins with an awareness. It begins with a communication and marketing strategy about the opportunities that exist. And it means communicating in multiple languages across our district and making sure that no student, no family is left out of understanding what's available and what opportunities exist. The spaces themselves will absolutely be inclusive in terms of how they're designed. Some of that comes in making sure that the specifications are larger classrooms, as with 1,000 square feet minimum, right, as we build these spaces out. And the reason why that's important is because historically, just because of the age of our schools and our district, many classrooms are 700 square feet or fewer. And so when you try to get 25, 30, 35 desks, things like that in those rooms, all you can accomplish is rows of learning. And so that's not what 21st century learning is about, right? When you look at inclusive opportunities for students to engage authentically in the curriculum and the instructional design of the classrooms, you got to have spaces that cultivate that and that are large enough where tables are flexible, where things can be moved about, a lot of mobility for students. All of those spaces are designed with that level of inclusivity.
Thank you very much.
Again, Superintendent Smith, for staff, families, and community members who want to be supportive, what does championing Imagine Education look like?
I think it looks like a lot of things. The first thing that comes to mind is maintaining and sustaining the vision of the Reimagine plan and not allowing us to waver from that anchor of all students thrive, all students get access, all students have opportunities. The reason why I say that is because the significance and the comprehensive nature of this plan demands that we change practices, historical practices and processes and structures that have not always served our students well. And so we have to be willing to change, right? Which means that we're gonna engage in some difficult conversations and decisions and prioritization of where we make investments in our organization. And that's gonna feel uncomfortable and for a lot of folks. And that's gonna be challenging. And what I believe the community and our stakeholders can do is continue to show up with being anchored with the vision in mind around the access that we're going to provide to students and families across our district to engage in these opportunities, as well as being sustained in knowing that we can't do it alone, right? So these partnerships, whether they're volunteer hours or whether they're financial, partnerships, or they're opportunities for students to engage in work-based learning or apprenticeships. All of those opportunities creates a community of educational experiences that all students and all families benefit from. And so the real opportunity, I think, for communities to champion is limitless. And I would maybe offer that we have to continue to show up curious, continue to put the human dignity at front and center around making sure that we deliver on the promise of the Reimagining plan, which is to give access to students across our district to amazing opportunities that give them doors to be opened rather than doors to be closed.
Thank you.
Mayor Bozen, what would success look like for the city 5 to 10 years from now if Reimagining Education it continues to fruition?
I think when you look at where people choose to live, one of the first questions is about schools. And I think as we reimagine how we're doing our neighborhood revitalization, I see people coming in and saying, we're coming because we want to come to the schools and the opportunity it offers. I think we have some phenomenal programs, and some of us just communicating and getting the word out. And I think it's getting people to be supportive again of our schools. And because, again, strong neighborhoods make a strong community. And it really is tied and linked together. So I see that in the 5 years, that this is not only the city to live in, but it's a city to move into and stay here to build up your community for long term.
Thank you.
Dr. Harris, when you think about success 5 years from now, what's one sign that tells us this work is making a difference?
Well, I think of a couple things. So first and most importantly, I think we're going to be looking a lot at student enrollment data. I think that if we see student enrollment, both in the district and in our signature schools grow, we're going to know that we were successful in creating excitement around the future of the district and the new programming. And then I think equally as important is going to be the retention data, because that's going to tell us that students are having a great experience and that we've provided the right experiences to prepare students for their future. I think the other thing I think a lot about that maybe isn't connected to numbers is when we think about our regions. And I'm really excited to get to a point where we see regional pride. So I think in Des Moines we have a lot of pride for the district. We have a lot of pride about our individual schools. So I think that when I hear a student or a teacher say something like Northeast Region Pride, then I'm going to know that we've done something right in that move towards the regional identity.
Thank you.
Ms. Westergaard, when you think of all of your work with DMPS students, what impact are you most proud of?
From the perspective of Biodegrees Foundation, we have spent the last 36 years working to support Des Moines Public Schools and working to adjust how that support looks and grow to expand the changing needs. When I started 15 years ago, we supported 40 students and had an incredible impact, but it was a very small footprint. And we now are embedded partners within 3 schools, expanding to 3 more in the next couple of years. That translates into thousands more students that are getting the type of support that they need starting in kindergarten. I graduated from North High School. I was one of very few students that ended up going on to a post-secondary degree program from my class. And I don't know that my peers necessarily had the sort of support or navigation help available to them that I did. And we know that if we can start those conversations in kindergarten with entire schools, we are changing the trajectory of so many lives, and that is something that we are really proud of at Biodegrees Foundation.
Thank you very much. I think we're getting close to the 20-minute mark. Kyle? Yeah? I've heard an enthusiastic yup. All right, well, we have one final question submitted from Doug Smith from DMEA.
You, Superintendent Smith, what is your favorite song to celebrate success to?
Oh,
Wow.
oh, sweet Lord, that just put me on the spot. Favorite song to celebrate success. Well, as many people know, like my gift is really dancing, and I would offer that I can get down to any jam, but maybe celebratory wise, "We Are Family," right? Is that that one? It's a classic, and it never gets old. And it fits for all situations, Irene, and I look forward to actually showing you what I can do since you asked me that question.
Too bad this is just an audio podcast.
Right. We'll have to see this happen.
Yeah.
When,
yeah.
at the end of 5 years, you'll maybe do it.
100% at the end of this 5 years. Absolutely.
Excellent. With that, we thank you for listening to the Become Here Project, a Des Moines Public Schools podcast. Thank you, audience. And from all of us at the Central Campus Auditorium, we wish you a great rest of your day. Please stay seated for an important announcement from Superintendent Smith.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.